We have a number of great guests, as I mentioned. One of them's coming to us from New York, the first one, talking about Facebook. We wanted to bring in somebody, Renee Schmidt. She's the editor of SheBytes.com because, you know, Facebook, of course, was this topic of conversation really the last month in the tech sector, and specifically this week. You know, the IPO was last Friday. It didn't do as well as some people thought on Friday, but it did go up a little bit. And then, of course, this week it hasn't done nearly as well as some had hoped. And so Renee joins us from New York. Renee, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So Facebook, we've had a lot of interesting developments since last week. But, you know, before I get even too much into that, I just want to bring up the Facebook wedding. And I know a lot of people were a little bit surprised by that, which took place just one day after the IPO. So just a big congratulations to Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan. It's really nice. But getting back just to what had happened at Facebook on Friday of last week, markets normally open at 9:30, and typically the NASDAQ starts trading new stocks at 10:30. For whatever reason, Facebook was supposed to start trading at 11, didn't even start until 11:30. A few hours later, there was reports that there was a problem with orders. The traders weren't sure if orders were coming in, if they were being processed properly, and it turned into a big debacle that was the result of a NASDAQ glitch. So now there's rumors of a huge lawsuit surrounding losses as a result of this glitch. That's just one thing. Then there's a second lawsuit that was reported this week about regulatory investigation into some of the banks having privileged financial or sensitive information that some people, the general public, didn't have access to. So that's also one big major issue that's come up.
Yeah, Renee, in fact, there are two buyers out there that we've already been told that are looking to do class action suits. They've already contacted lawyers. Obviously, this is going to be an issue that's going to be followed for a number of months, if not longer, depending on how far this goes in the courts, and potentially could cost significant amounts of money, as you mentioned. We've also heard this morning that Facebook is even in talks with the New York Stock Exchange to possibly move Facebook from the NASDAQ over there. That's something that came out this morning. You know, what does this do to the tech sector? I mean, for those of us at home, maybe aren't as connected in the tech sector, but kind of watch it generically. Of course, how could you not watch it with Facebook and the big announcement last week? What does this do for the sector, knowing that you had this issue, you have Facebook stock not doing as well as some people had hoped, you have the fact that they may move from the NASDAQ to the New York Stock Exchange, and you have the possibility of some significant lawsuits?
Yeah, you know, that's raising a lot of fears, and there is a lot of questions about what those fears are going to do in a ripple effect on other technology stocks and other financials in the tech space. And it's a great concern because a lot of valuation is just investor confidence, and if Facebook is losing investor confidence as such a huge conglomerate and being the most successful technology or one of the most successful technology companies, then what does that mean for other companies that are looking to IPO or who are already on the market?
Right. You know, I also want to remind viewers, too, that are watching right now, you can chime in on your thoughts on this. You can come to currently the page you're on and do the live chat. We'll get them here in front of us as well as in New York. You also can go to our Facebook page, and you also can send us a tweet via Twitter. My username is Adam Housley, ADAMHOUSLEY, and we will talk about it on the air. You know, Renee, jumping over a little bit, the idea of Facebook is all about advertising. As you know, we had a guy on last week talking about there's a number of now private sites that are out there, social sites that you can go on, and you don't have to worry about that advertising. You can even choose the advertising that comes your way. But we know with what Facebook has done, the next step really is mobile advertising. I mean, you walk around with your smartphones. I mean, they're the gadget of the day, as well as the tablets. You know,
yeah.
what is mobile? Are we going to have all kinds of pop-up ads now coming on these types of devices?
Well, I should hope not, because those screens are way too small for pop-up ads. And I think that there's a lot of challenges in how to raise revenue for a company, for example, like Facebook, when you can't advertise in the traditional way that companies have been used to. You know, if you open a Google, if you open Chrome and you look at a typical browser, you'll see the ads streaming along the top, along the sides, and when you have a 24-inch monitor, that's fine. But what about when you have a tiny little iPhone screen? So advertisers are going to be looking for new ways to generate revenue, and I think one of the ways that is successful already and will continue to become more and more successful and grow will be through social games. So, I mean, everybody has heard of Farmville, for example. It effectively
Right.
hijacked social media for a while. And I think just more and more games and more apps is going to be the way that people are going to be moving towards generating revenue from social media, particularly in mobile.
Right. You know, I mentioned last week we had a guest talking about one of the private places out there you can go and have your own social media community and not have to worry about basically giving up all your rights that so many of the different ones out there right now that are popular do. Having said that, Bing Bulletin Board is coming out or is out. So it's kind of a combination of Facebook, Pinterest, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, what's the chances of this maybe catching fire? I mean, you have a lot of competition out there now. They see what Facebook has done. They see how much money has been made by literally thousands of people. Now you're having even more copycats, so to speak, come out. What do you think of the Bing Bulletin Board concept?
Well, so Microsoft Social is this new Bing Bulletin Board, as it's been dubbed, and it did debut this week. And, you know, it's funny because some people are saying that it's going to be a competitor or that it will rival Facebook. Now, what I want to point out is that until Facebook, you know, created social media as we know it today, there was no Facebook. So why are people looking for a rival? Facebook is doing what it does well, and it will continue to do what it does well. And I think if technology companies want to enter the space, they need to come up with something that's completely different and completely revolutionizes the way that people compute and the way that they communicate. So I don't really see Bing Social or Microsoft Social having much traction. You know, if Google Plus and Google Buzz couldn't do it with Android behind them and Google Search, then I don't see Microsoft Social having much success.
Yeah, there's going to be something, it has to be something unique. I mean, you already have the idea of Facebook out there, Pinterest, and all these other ones that have obviously garnered so much support. So you're going to have to find something that's going to be different. More of the same, basically, which is what you see with Google Plus and the Bing concept. Speaking of new concepts, we talked a lot last week about Apple and some of the products coming out, the whole talk of the new iPhone and the new MacBook, all that kind of thing. But there's also a lot of talk going on with Windows 8 and that whole operating system that's supposed to be coming this fall, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be coming this fall, and there's so much buzz about it already. What Microsoft is trying to do is enter the tablet market and take market share away from people who are really moving towards the iPad and to Mac. And one of the ways they're trying to do that is with this new Windows 8 operating system, which is going to remove that dreaded Microsoft Start menu from the operating system and instead have tiles on the screen. And they're looking to have some devices that are a hybrid of a tablet and a laptop and implementing this Windows 8 operating system on that. So it'll be available on Lenovo, HP, Sony, Toshiba, all the major computer hardware manufacturers.
And obviously in direct competition with Apple, trying to keep that two-man race continuous.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's interesting. I don't think that they'll have much success taking market. You know, I think Microsoft is going to really hold tight to its enterprise market. Microsoft Office and Windows is just the standard right now for an enterprise and business user. But from the consumer market, I think they're going to have a really hard time competing with Mac and the market share that they've lost to them. And, you know, even Android is losing its grasp. You know, people are overwhelmingly moving to iPads and iPhones.
Right. Now, Renee, I want to change topics totally now because when you talk about technology, you talk about how it involves our lives as we have in this conversation, in this interview, the last 10 minutes or so. You know, sometimes it can be daunting, it can be overwhelming, but the fact of the matter is, as we know from even just our cell phones, technology is 100% a part of our life. Having said that, women in technology, we know of a major lawsuit that's been filed.
Yeah.
You know, what has it been like? Because as you know, you're obviously a woman and you're obviously involved in technology, and it's something that's been somewhat frustrating for some women. That I don't want to say a glass ceiling, but it's definitely been kind of a guys' network. And now you got this lawsuit. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, when I heard about this, it was just, you know, it's unfortunate because there is so much conversation about women and technology, and it's just such a hot topic already. You know, this is a VC company where a woman who is a partner in this 50-person company, she recently filed a sexual harassment lawsuit. saying that there was gender discrimination and she had sexual harassment in the workplace. So now typically VC companies are male-dominated and the tech space is male-dominated. And this particular company where the suit was filed actually is way more gender diverse than the typical VC in Silicon Valley. And so it was a little bit surprising, and people were rattled by the news of this sexual harassment lawsuit. And like I said, it's unfortunate. The reason I feel that way is because women are underrepresented in technology. It's not really clear why that is, whether it's because they're not getting the opportunities or they're not interested in technology the way that men are. But, I think that this is an isolated incident, and I don't think that it's necessarily a reflection of the way that women are treated in the technology space. Women do have a lot of challenges, but I don't think it's telling of the industry as a whole necessarily.
Good. Well, that's a positive outlook. We want to go now from our kind of conversation to bring in some of the viewers' comments. We have, first of all, a shout out from Eugenio Gonzalez, who's watching us. Appreciate that, Eugenio. And also from Charles Reese. He has a pretty good question. He says that shareholders should have to be alert about their investments in Facebook. Don't blame the business that you've invested in if things start to go downhill, especially a social networking business that has no real product to offer consumers. That's been one of the things that we've heard over the course of the last couple of weeks, that Facebook really doesn't offer product, but it does in some respects. You have the advertising product that, is meant to go after, as they gather our information, and then it goes after specifically certain people that those products might be of interest to.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things that Facebook should be considering, I'm sure they are already, is, of course, doing more data mining so that they can, sell advertising more effectively. And, of course, offering a premium subscription service, sort of like what LinkedIn offers. That may be an option to have a really nice, solid revenue stream in the long term as well.
All right. Well, Renee Schmidt from SheBytes.com. I'm not sure where Jennifer came from. That's crazy. Talking about women in the industry, I guess. It's
I know, just another female name.
One of those, yeah, right. Exactly. Not my intent at all. Renee Schmidt with SheBytes.com, the editor. Much appreciated. Glad you came along. We'll definitely have you back. Talk more about the tech industry, and definitely with the whole Facebook issue, we know that is not going to go away anytime soon. There's the website right there, SheBytes.com, edited by Renee Schmidt from New York. Renee, again, thanks for your time.